Alright, good evening, ladies, gentlemen, NMB. Ladies, gentlemen, NMB. So anyway, ladies, gentlemen, NMB, welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about the Shatt app. Not much I'm going to say here, really. I'm just going to reiterate that I'm going to try and start redoing a lot of these old episodes. So hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. This one's between the Shah of Iran, and the other one is between the Kingdom, and then later Republic, and then later Ba'athist Party of Iraq. So hopefully you do enjoy, hopefully you learn something, and you can see the animosity and one of the sparks of the Iran-Iraq war. So that's pretty interesting, but the Iran-Iraq war does go a bit deeper, but this already sibling mutual rivalry does kind of really pin the tail on the donkey. So no, I'm not going to do an Iran-Iraq war video anytime soon. I'm going to do that with Insurgency Sandstorm, though. That's going to be pretty lit. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to leave it here, and pretty much hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, and let's go to 1975. I remember a good disco track I had from the 70s Iraq. It was actually pretty good, so you might hear it. So without further ado, learn something. Qajar Iran have repudiated the demarcation line established in the Persian Gulf by the Anglo-Ottoman Convention of 1913, and argued that the Iran-Iraq border in the Shatt should be demarcated along the Talwag principle. In 1934, the Hashemite Kingdom of Iraq, encouraged by the United Kingdom, took the Pahlavi Iran to the League of Nations, but the dispute was not resolved. In 1937, Iran and Iraq signed their first official boundary treaty, which established a waterway border on the eastern bank of the river, and excluded a formal anchorage zone near Abadan, which was allotted to Iran, where the border ran along the Talwag. In 1958, Iraq's Hashemite monarchy was overthrown in a coup d'etat, known as the 14th of July Revolution, which established the First Iraqi Republic. In 1968, another coup d'etat, staged by the Arab Socialist Ba'athist Party, and known as the 17th of July Revolution, deposed the First Iraqi Republic, and formally established a Ba'athist regime in Iraq. Shortly afterwards, Iran sent a delegation of diplomats to Iraq in 1969. Nice. And when the erstwhile Iraqi government refused to proceed with the negotiations over a new treaty, Iran withdrew from the Treaty of 1937. The Iranian abrogation of the 1937 treaty marked the beginning of a period of acute tension in the Iran-Iraq relation that lasted until the 1975 Algiers Agreement. Now, the events. So, from March 1974 to March 1975, Iran and Iraq fought border skirmishes sparked over Iran's support of Iraqi Kurds, who were engaged in an insurgency against the Arab-majority Iraqi state for secession and the establishment of an independent Kurdish state. In 1975, the Iraqis launched a major military offensive into Iran, spearheaded with tank columns. This incursion was defeated by the Iranians, though, after which several other attacks took place. However, Iran had the world's fifth largest military at the time, and promptly defeated the Iraqi military with its air power, while continuing to frustrate the Iraqis domestically with arming of the Kurds and arming of Kurdish separatists, alongside its Southwell close allies, the United States of America and Israel. Some 1,000 people died as a result of the 1974 to 1975 conflict around the Shatt al-Arab, and Iraq was ultimately unable to gain any advantage against Iran. Consequently, Iraq decided against continuing the conflict and chose to instead make the concessions to Tehran to end the Kurdish rebellion. In the 1975 Algiers Agreement, Iraq made territorial concessions including the Shatt al-Arab waterway in exchange for normalizing bilateral relations with Iran. In return for Iraqis' recognition that the frontier of the waterway ran along the entire Talwag principle, as per Iran's agreement, I was going to say Tehran again, the latter ended its support for the Iraqi Kurdish guerrillas in northern Iraq. The aftermath, and of course, the 80s. So on the 17th of September 1980, Iraq abrogated the 1975 Algiers Agreement after Iranian forces shelled a number of Iraqi border posts on the 4th of September following the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which overthrew the Shah and the Pahlavi dynasty and established an Islamic theocracy and theocrat. Iraq's President Saddam Hussein claimed that the newly established Islamic Republic of Iran had refused to abide by the speculations and the stipulations of the 1975 Algiers Agreement and Accords, and Iraq therefore considered them null and void. Tensions began to run high between the two states as Iraq's ruling Ba'athist Party feared that the Ruhollah Khomeini was attempting to export the Iranian Revolution to Iraq by inciting the latter's Shia Muslim population into revolting against the secular and Arab nationalist government. 5 days later, the Iraqi military launched the major offensives into Khuzestan, or the southwestern provinces of Iran, and invaded Iran, sparking the Iran-Iraq War that would last well into the 1980s. And there you go. I do hope you enjoyed. I do hope you liked that one. I do hope it was a bit better than the last, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and until next time, I'll see you. Take care. And when swimming, make sure you have your towel wet. No, wet. And when you're swimming, please demarcate yourself and stay 6 feet apart from somebody when you're swimming. And don't swim out too far. Don't swim out too far, because then the Iranian warships will get you, and the tanker wars will begin. Anyway, on a serious note, stay safe, stay hydrated, stay sanitized, and until next time, learn something, of course. Ladies, gentlemen, LMB.